technology. So he's been recording the best of this presentation for us today, but he's going to take questions again in real time. Go ahead, Sanket, it's all yours.
All right. Thanks, Max, and LV as well to support me with this presentation. And thanks, Max, for introducing me. And thanks for giving me this opportunity to speak in this wonderful virtual summit, LogTech Asia. I also thank the entire fraternity of LogTech Asia and all the attendees who are actually listening to me. I am Sanket Sheth, founder of this company called Elixia Tech, and I started this company in 2011. I did my master's in computer science from Arizona State University in the US with information assurance concentration, post which I worked there for a couple of years in a small tech company trying to serve logistic customers. Flew back in 2011 and started Elixia. I scaled up one of the products of Elixia till 2016 with about a team of 80 and just over 100 customers. Now in 2016, I started another company and I have a product focusing on automation of supply chain. Again, at this stage, I am with a team of about 120 people serving just over 300 customers globally. Today, I'm going to talk on digitalization of logistic and supply chain. Whatever I speak today, ideally is my point of view, and all the research which I have done and will be a little bit of my business and stuff, but then that does not really imply that whatever I say is what you agree, but at the same time it's what I believe is true. So let's start. All right, to set up the tone, in US people drive on right. In India people drive on whatever is left. So having set this tone, I would just like to share with you what am I going to talk about today. So today I'll be talking about some facts and figures with regards to how supply chain automation has evolved globally and also in a few countries. More importantly, what are the key initiatives which supply chain heads usually take, followed by what are the challenges of supply chain heads, and how exactly are those challenges being solved and stuff, right? So this will actually give you a knack of the pain areas or gray areas of supply chain. Also, I'm going to restrict myself to logistics aspect of supply chain. Supply chain by itself is very huge, be it the demand side of it, including demand planning, demand forecasting, and a lot of other concepts, be it warehouse side of it, be it inventory side of it. But today we are going to focus on logistics, right? So be it the inbound logistics or the outbound logistics, logistics between plants, logistics between plant and depots, or depot and distributor. So be it the line haul or be it milk run, be it export or import. Mainly I'm going to talk about logistics, and the digitalization is mainly focused on logistics with regards to whatever I speak today, right? All right, so moving on. So if we consider the global supply chain software, there are few facts and figures which I have pulled in. So the actual global supply chain software is valued at about $10 billion in 2016. And this is going to touch $25 billion in by 2025. If you see the presentation, it's fairly straightforward and clear, and this is what even I agree, that America's penetration of supply chain software is maximum. It's about 50%, and it's mainly the North America wherein it's about 40% of the penetration as compared to any other countries, be it in Europe or be it in Asia. But at the same time, the Asia's CAGR, which is the compound annual growth rate, is very high. It's 12.1% as compared to the global CAGR, which is slightly less. So it's 9.7. So the global CAGR is 9.7, but Asia's CAGR is 12.1, which is very good for tech businesses focusing on supply chain in Asia. Moving on, why Asia leads this disruption, and of course by 2025 Asia's penetration of supply chain would be crazy. And why is this so? I would like to share with you a few reasons. One of them being there is increase in trade. Of course, there is free trade agreements in Asia, which means there are custom-free imports and exports in a lot of countries of Asia. There is heavy investment, foreign investment, which is happening in Asia. If you consider countries like, say, Vietnam, there is this city of Ho Chi Minh. I have never been there, but then based on my readings, I of course want to go there. But if you consider the Bitexo financial tour and the Hanoi landmark tower, these are the two towers wherein there is lot of foreign investments which is happening. The e-commerce is going to scale up like crazy. It's going to explode in Asia. It was going to explode, of course, because of COVID-19. This got delayed, but then by say 2025, Indonesia will see 50% of the e-commerce business in Southeast Asia. So if you consider Southeast Asia, this is what it is. The logistics industry in Vietnam is seeing like 15 to 20% of GDP as on today, and it's 12% in Indonesia, which by itself is pretty significant. There is this organization called ASEAN, which is nothing but the Association of Southeast Asian nations, and they have a pretty strong master plan for transnational corridor to improvise trade. So these are the main reasons why Asian market will grow, especially with regards to supply chain. Moving on to the supply chain heads key initiatives. So based on research of Gartner, 60% of companies are not satisfied with what their objectives are and what their planning capabilities are. More importantly, 75% of the actual supply chain heads think that the governance on digital projects is not very good. And the key initiatives, when asked to about like thousands of supply chain heads, the response which we got was pretty obvious, that the digital supply chain or digitalization of the entire supply chain process is their main key initiative, and followed by a lot of others. Now, having said that, especially after COVID-19, what I feel personally is that the supply chain network design will change drastically. The global supply chain network design will change drastically. This will, of course, improvise. More importantly, the supply chain innovation will also grow up because this was taken before COVID-19. I mean, a couple of years ago, actually. Things have not changed a lot till the month of January, but soon after COVID-19, though now people have started exploring a lot of supply chain innovation, and hence I believe that supply chain innovation and supply chain network design initiatives is growing globally. be it in Europe, be it in Asia, or be it even in North America for that matter. So this is the change which I see in the key initiatives. Moving on, the biggest challenge of supply chain as on today still remains visibility. Even after COVID-19, it will remain, so visibility will be the biggest challenge. Almost 70% of supply chain industry does not have complete visibility, does not give complete visibility to their customers. So if we focus on, the top 4 challenges, visibility being one. Of course, there is fluctuating customer demand. There is no strong and standard demand forecasting tool available in industry, and hence fluctuating customer demand is high. Inventory, of course, is high, and we will see a lot of fluctuations in inventory, especially because of COVID-19, till 6 months now, and then it will stabilize again because of a lot of inventory in warehouse. Of course, coordination between employees for supply chain is also very high, because there is no complete automation and there is still manual intervention which is required to digitalize the supply chain processes. Now, if we consider the biggest barriers, there was yet another survey conducted, and it was taken by about 500 logistics service providers who are nothing but the carriers, and about 200 odd manufacturers and retailers. And they say that they are able to give supply chain visibility. Almost 70% of logistics service providers and about 60% of manufacturers say that they are able to give visibility, but then this is bound to improve, and within 5 years this will increase to about 90%, 80 to 90%, which means there is still scope. There's a lot of scope of improving visibility, and the business of supply chain visibility will grow like crazy. The only reasons why the remaining 10% say no is they feel that it's too challenging and complicated, but this percent will go down considering the penetration of supply chain automation in industry. And of course, they say that there is lack of industry collaboration, which again will improve. Now, me having interacted with a lot of supply chain heads, I believe there are several challenges which they face if we consider outbound logistics. See, supply chain is mainly split into planning, design, and execution. So that is what I believe. And supply chain planning penetration is crazy. But at the same time, there still is a lot of gray area with regards to costs. There is no control on costs. As soon as the vehicle is out of the plant till it reaches distributor, there is no control on cost. There is temperature non-compliance. So especially in case of cold chain, we see temperature non-compliance, thereby resulting in heavy food loss. There is very weak supply chain planning, very minimal visibility of goods, though this is improving on a daily basis through the GPS-based IoT devices. And because there is high reliability on Excel sheets, there is a lot of manual intervention, which eventually leads to a lot of operational slippages and cost slippages because of a lot of factors. And hence there is need of supply chain revolution. So if you consider people are moving towards digitalization now, especially by 2025, I believe that 70-80% of the entire global supply chain would be digitalized. So this is the time. Of course, this will be pushed because of COVID-19, but this is the time wherein the digital revolution will happen. People have started pulling in cloud-based supply chain softwares more than on-premise softwares, because on-premise softwares is not slowly, it's being outdated and people are moving towards cloud-based. Also, one of the main reasons is the capital. So there is no heavy costs which are involved with regards to the cloud-based software. So people are moving towards cloud now and adopting software as a service model. And of course, there is need of supply chain visibility, which I already shared with you. Now, if you consider control tower is a concept which helps bring supply chain visibility. And I usually split this into 4 things. First is to actually give visibility, which is nothing but real-time tracking by installation of GPS devices or giving the integrated platform for tracking, which pulls in information from GPS devices, thereby helping us know the real-time location or the real-time temperature as well. And by temperature, what we mean is, in case of temperature conflict, we send real-time, alerts. We get real-time alerts, and we send temperature non-compliance reports, thereby helping us measure the temperature non-compliance. That's mainly the first level is visibility. The second level is alerts, wherein we send SMS. So by we, what I mean is the control tower or the tech companies who are focusing on control tower usually send alerts in the form of email, SMS, or telephonic in some cases. So in cases of pharma companies, they usually send telephonic alerts. Of course, the third level is the decision-making capability. So we do not have supply chain heads take decisions. Rather, it is the system who gives suggestions to supply chain heads to actually tweak the system in such a way that it goes in their favor, and they can then investigate and take necessary measures or actions. Of course, the level 4 is everything could become autonomous, which means there could be usage of soft bots. There is no need of manual intervention or Excel sheets at any given point in time. So few call it intelligent agents, few call it soft bots, but eventually it will be a process wherein there is no manual intervention or digitalization, or usage of Excel sheet as such, and hence the system can become autonomous. The entire control tower could become autonomous, and supply chain heads can outsource this control tower to companies providing control tower. So that is what it is. And of course, there are several benefits of control tower, wherein we'll be saving on logistic cost is the main benefit. So if you consider the actual supply chain, it ideally split into pre-transit, in-transit, and post-transit modules. By pre-transit module, what I mean is, the optimization engine wherein there is load optimization, route optimization, and transport allocation and all such modules which help savings directly. So there is a direct quantitative benefit which a customer gets here by using such modules. So if you consider in-transit modules, it's nothing but bringing visibility, and the post-transit module is the billing platform. So there is a lot of benefit which can be derived, but the main benefit is ideally savings on logistic cost. Now, would just want to brief you about Elixia Tech. So there is a short video I wanted to play, but then because of time limit, I will not be able to play that video, but you can visit www.elixia.tech and go through all the videos, or add me on LinkedIn so that you can see the videos and be updated with regards to what we do. So I'm not going to run this video because of time constraints. All right, so I would just want to brief you very quickly about myself, and I intend to share with you a couple of case studies very quickly which have helped companies, and I'm going to show you the monetary benefit which they actually got using supply chain control tower as a whole. So I founded Elixia in 2011, and I started with GPS based vehicle telematics. Of course, by 2016 I reached 100 customers, and when the supply chain control tower got conceptualized, and then there were several awards I got, and as on today I have like 353 customers dealing with about 18,000 vehicles in a few countries now, and I'm headquartered in Mumbai. And moving on, this is what I offer, and it's nothing but the supply chain control tower, which is automation through soft bots for the entire outbound logistics. There is no manual intervention required. These are my customers who I deal with, to name a few. FMCG customers like Mondelez, Nestle, Ferrero are the ones who actually use my solution in a few countries. There are other customers like Baxter, SEAT, UPL, which is United Phosphorus Limited, and the others. So this is mixture of logistics service providers as well as manufacturers, shippers as well as carriers who use my solution in India and in few other countries. So a couple of case studies very quickly because we are short in time. There was one leading FMCG company. In 2016, they started using our supply chain control tower. In 1 year time, by the end of March 2018, they saw a total savings of 13 million rupees, which is nothing but 1 crore 30 lakh rupees, right? And of course, they saw direct monetary saving in case of vehicle share, vendor share adherence, heavy vehicle usage. So instead of, the system by itself said that instead of using 32 feeters, 40 feeters and 32 feeters would do the job. That helped them save a lot on vehicle utilization. They saved a lot on route optimization, and that's how they saved 1 crore 30 lakh by using Elixia's control tower over the period of 1 year. There's another company who is into cold chain. They did not have any visibility of temperature. They had 50% visibility of temperature, and that too offline visibility by on Feb 17, and by June 17, after installation of temperature probes and devices all across their supply chain, they saw like 92% of temperature visibility, thereby saving about 1 crore 80 lakhs over the period of 9 months, and soon after which they are still our customers and they continue monitor temperature throughout, right? These are the awards of Elixia which I got starting 2018. So it's only 2018 I started marketing Elixia as a whole in India and in few other countries. Something which I want to share with you is we landed up being in top 5 in Food Loss Challenge Asia, which was conducted by Rabobank in Singapore in October 2018. And we are currently in the cohort of supply chain labs, built by Loomis Partners. So that is about Elixia. And if you want to know more about me, you can definitely add me on LinkedIn. Visit www.elixia.tech. Once again, thanks Max and LV to help me and to give me this opportunity to speak in front of a large audience. And I'm looking forward. Of course, there's a freebie which I want to share with you, that you can get in touch with me over the email. You can reach me at my first name, last name, which is Sanket Sheth at elixiatech.com. And I'll be more than happy to give you, free consultation, or maybe we can together identify your gray areas with regards to the logistics aspect of supply chain, or in fact supply chain as a whole as well. All right, thanks once again, and I'm looking forward to being in touch with you guys. Thank you.
Okay, great presentation. Thank you for sharing again. So briefly, I want to remind you that you can ask questions at any time. The speakers